Hi, this is Wayne Goldsmith for Sports Thoughts. I want to tell you about something I'm very excited about. I've just written and published a book called The Talent Myth, Why Talent Isn't Worth Shite, shall we say. To me, this is the most important book, probably the most important thing I've ever done. About a year or so ago, I was sitting down talking with a 12-year-old and his mum. And he went to a local school and we were talking about school and sport. And he said, look, I really wanted to play rugby. He said, but I didn't make the team. And I said, that's frustrating, disappointing for you. I said, did they tell you why you didn't make the team? He said, yeah, the coach told me I wasn't talented enough and I was never gonna make it as a rugby player, so they wouldn't select me. Now think about that for a moment. A 12-year-old kid who loves the game, just wants to play the game with his mates, told you're not talented enough. At 12, you're not talented enough and you're never gonna make it. And I walked away from that just shaking my head saying, not just for that young man, but how many kids have we looked at over the years and said, they're not talented, they're not gonna make it, or they're not talented, they're not good enough to be in the rep team, or they're not talented enough to ever play at the top level. And when you think about it, it's really dumb. Because if you've been around sport even for a little while, you know that there are millions of stories of great people, great athletes at the top of professional leagues, professional sport, Olympic sport, who are not necessarily incredibly talented, but worked hard, gave it everything, loved it so much that they thought about what they were doing all the time. They were obsessed with it. They wanted to get better in everything they did. Regardless of their level of talent, it was their character, their values, their attitudes, their beliefs that helped them get the best out of the talent that they had. But imagine that poor young man being told, you're not good, and mum's thinking, well, let's not bother with rugby because apparently my kid's not that talented. And maybe we don't play any sport because my kid's so untalented. So I wrote this book, The Talent Myth, Why Talent Isn't Worth Shite, because I think it's time we had a resource for coaches, for parents, for teachers, for sporting clubs, for sports officials, for anyone involved in sport, to rethink the way we look at talent. You know, forget worshipping physical talent. Who cares if a kid's bigger, stronger, faster, taller than anyone else because they won the genetic lottery? Who cares about that stuff? What can we do as coaches and as parents? Well, we can help them develop their character. We can help them with their values. We can teach them things like time management. We can tell them that we believe in them. We can help them believe confidence. We can teach them what commitment is all about. We can show them how to be inquisitive. We can teach them so many things that will help them be all they choose to be, irrespective of whatever physical talent they were born with or not. The book's now available on Amazon as an ebook and in paperback. It's also just been uploaded to Ingram Spark for global distribution and to be released as an audiobook by the end of July 2025. Look, if you love sport, if you're a sporting parent, if you're a coach, if you're a sports teacher, I really think this book is the one you've been looking for. It's going to help you understand what talent really is and what it isn't, and give you a perspective on just how we can help every kid, regardless of their born talent, to be all that they choose to be. This is Wayne Goldsmith and Sports Thoughts.